Hi, I'm Gigi Ghada Benitez, a licensed realtor in California and a certified international property specialist, here today with my partner, Ahmed Ashfaq. Hi, Ahmed.
Hi, Gigi.
And we have a very special guest with us, the legend, Tahir Majithia. Hi, Tahir.
Hi, Gigi. How are you?
I am so well, very extra good right now, knowing that you are here to lend our viewers and listeners your expertise in the Dubai real estate market.
It's my pleasure.
So, Tahir, you want to give us a little bit of background about you?
So, I'm Tahir Majithia. I've been doing real estate for, I don't even remember how long, over 20 years. I'm originally from India. So I was doing real estate back there, and it's been over 10 years. I've been in Dubai now, doing real estate. Yeah, that's all I know.
And he's a big influencer, by the way. You can look him up in his YouTube. I've been watching him even before I started even doing my own real estate here, by the way. So really respect and value your insight and your mannerism and your sincerity and honesty.
Thank you.
So I think we have done a really good job. We've done a series of interviews, being able to share with Americans and Canadian investors the off plan, which is what, about 50% right now of...
Yes, as of now, you could say about 50% of the market is off plan.
And we've explained that off plan is under construction because it's not necessarily really well known throughout the United States.
Right.
Miami has the off plan, Canada does, but not necessarily California and New York.
New York,
yes.
Yeah.
So we've done a good job talking about the process, talking about why, talking about the benefits. And now we would like to tap into your expertise to share why somebody would choose a resale or ready-made, what the differences are, and the process.
Before you do, please do bear in mind, our viewers are first-time comers in Dubai's market, meaning they have no idea what has taken place in the last 18, 20 years in Dubai.
Right.
So please go through step by step so they would understand what has taken place.
It is true. They're new.
Exactly.
So my first thing is, anybody watching this and has not been to Dubai is...
Come to Dubai, Habibi.
Come to Dubai for 3 days, 4 days, and see what amazing city this is. Because no matter what you hear about Dubai and what you listen about, it's very different from what actually is happening over here. It's probably one of the best cities in the world, and I'm saying this after traveling to a lot of cities around the world. It is. Now, coming to your question, secondary market or resale market versus an off plan, there are a lot of differences. First of all, buying into a ready property is first, there is zero risk because it's a ready property. You see it. If you like it, you buy it.
You get what you see.
You get what you see. So you're not, waiting to see, okay, how it's going to be built, how big it's going to be. Okay, it is, but because some people cannot imagine how it's going to be once it's ready, etc., etc. So it's absolutely zero risk.
Especially when it comes to finishing and the details.
Exactly. So you've seen the property, so there are no doubts in your mind. You don't want to know, okay, how the kitchen is going to look or how the bathroom is going to be, how much wardrobe space do I have or what's my view like, how big is the balcony. So you see the property and you buy it. Second big advantage, which a lot of people look at ready properties is, they want instant cash flow. You put down your money today,
yes,
and you start getting the rent very next day.
Yes.
Okay. So that is one major thing.
Yes.
And the third thing is, with ready property, with off plan, you get time to pay. With ready property, if you have 40% of the property value with you, you can get 60% mortgage. Even if you do not live over here, you do not have anything here, still for your property purchase, you can get a mortgage for the 60% of the value, and rest 40% is paid down. So that's another advantage. where a lot of people want to look at a ready property.
So you don't have to be a Dubai resident in order to be qualified for that 60% mortgage, correct?
You don't need to.
Nope.
Very
In fact,
good.
we actually did 2 interviews with mortgage lenders
Yes.
sharing how foreigners, how easy it is. And it's becoming simpler and simpler.
Yeah, it is. Look, people think the process is very difficult and all. No,
not.
people, look, Dubai as a place is one of the most advanced cities in the world. The Dubai Land Department is completely on blockchain, which means there's complete transparency in data. You can go and check every transaction. Obviously, details like whose apartment it is or who bought it.
That's
Obviously, that's
privacy.
confidential and
Yes.
privacy. But you can see exactly that apartment number 102 in this building in downtown sold for how much, or it rented for how much. That data is available in the public domain. So, it's quite advanced. Again, the Dubai Land Department is paperless. So you don't have physical title deeds. It's all digital. You have a property wallet. You have an app. So, when it comes to these kind of things, we are way organized than probably any other property market in the world.
Agreed.
So processes are very simple. So things are quite simple. It's only that if a person has the will and wants to do something, if they come here and see, it's quite different.
Agreed. On so many levels.
On a lot of things.
The lifestyle, all of it.
Exactly. So secondary and off plan, usually these are the main differences that you get the property instantly, you can take a mortgage, and your cash flow starts instantly.
Tahir, would you think it's wise to buy in a resale market when it's a seller's market? Because everyone is pretty much in demand and in sync with the sellers, rest of the sellers, and negotiation gets very difficult?
It also depends on the location. For example, today, if you want to buy a property on, say, for example, Palm Jumeirah, there are very few off-plan properties.
There's barely anything, right?
Okay.
That's
And
a
if
good
there
point.
is, probably they're at a very high price point.
Yeah, you're right. That's a great example of where
Same
you would
way
come.
with downtown.
Yes.
If, for example, in downtown, you want to be on the boulevard, there is nothing off-plan today over there. Take for an example, you want an apartment in the Burj Khalifa. That's the only building, right?
Yeah.
So there is no offline. You will have to come and you have to see the property and buy a ready property.
Got it.
So it also depends on where a person wants to be.
Good point.
Now, okay, if you're buying it as, in a new upcoming area where nothing is built yet, yes, you will buy off plan. There is no
Like
secondary.
Maritime, for example.
Yeah, like Maritime City, or
Yes.
even say, for example, in Russell Khaimah. And,
Yes.
units.
Russell Khaimah. Love it.
That's a different thing. But if you're buying today in downtown, you're buying in Dubai Marina, you're buying in, JBR or in Palm Jumeirah, there's barely any off-plan over there.
So Tahir, why would off-plan be so popular the last 18 years? Since the market actually started, it always started with the off-plan. Since pre-COVID, we saw the surge of mortgage because we started seeing more Dubai resident buying homes versus renting. And that's when the mortgage started kicking in. Now, my question here is, what segregates the resale buyers and who are the preferred off-plan buyers? How do you separate these two
There are two,
people?
three things. One is everybody's cash flow, personal cash flow, right? Like say today, for example, you offer me a property which is 3 million. Okay, I don't have 3 million down. I don't want to take a mortgage for whatever reasons.
Yes,
okay?
or maybe they want to flip it.
Or
They want to just play that
I want to
flipping
just
game.
put some money down, sell later,
Yep.
or whatever. There could be
And
various.
the high interest rate, of course, which is the biggest issue right
Look,
now.
it's I see every I've always seen this, that every buyer has a different mindset, has a different purpose and a different need.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, someone who's sitting with money ready will not want to wait.
Of course.
Someone who's sitting with $1 million in his bank account and said, "Look, my money is there. I want to deploy it, and I want to get something
He
out
wants
of it."
to start making it work
He
for him
wants
right
to
away.
make it right
Yes.
away. Okay.
Yes.
So he probably wants to put down the money instantly and start making 8, 9, 10% return on it. Tax free directly on his property. Okay. There's someone who knows he might get, for example, $1 million in the next 3 years, has $200,000, $300,000 right now, and wants to put down as a down payment and start off, slowly wants to send money. That's a different purpose, right? So everybody's need is different and purpose is different. So depending on that, there are people who would want. Then again, some people want a specific location.
Of course.
Right? Now, if someone comes and falls in love with downtown, Like, I want an apartment overlooking the fountain and the Burj Khalifa. You cannot sell anything off plan.
Exactly.
You have to give them a ready property.
But Tahir, you touched a subject in one of your previous videos, and this subject has taken place in the US many, many years ago. And I was just waiting to see when would that trend start in Dubai, and now we're starting to see it. What do you have to say about people who are buying resale properties of older houses, such as 14, 15 years, buying it at a much cheaper price because it's pretty much run down, and they are refurbishing, renovating the entire place and selling at a higher price? Is that what you're seeing more often now in the market?
Look, as you see the markets maturing, and if you see areas such as Palm Jumeirah, downtown, Dubai Marina,
Jumeirah Lakes.
Yeah, Jumeirah Lake Towers.
Yes.
These are prime areas, right? As a location, as a destination, it's a super prime property today. Now, obviously, everything is almost built over there, so there's no space to build new. So, and these houses were built 15 years back, 20 years back. So they are obviously of an older design and older fit finish, which people today do not like. And people who are buying these properties, renovating and selling them, obviously are making a good margin out of it, because, you know, people want new houses. When I say new, means more modern houses, new designed houses. And if it's there in a prime location, people are willing to pay the price for it.
Are you a big fan of, obviously, it was one of the first master communities by Emaar, the Springs and Meadows. Is that why we're seeing a huge influx of resale in that area?
There's a lot of places. I'll tell you what, Springs, Meadows, Palm Jumeirah, you know, older apartments in downtown, Jumeirah Islands. Right?
I see what they're doing with Jumeirah Islands.
So what is happening is, because look, when these places were built, right? If you see, for example, Meadows, I don't think they have any plot size smaller than 5,900, 6,000 square foot.
Yes.
Huge.
Okay, that's the smallest size for a 3-bed.
Yes.
Today, even if a new project is launching, even 20 minutes
away in the suburbs,
okay, that's still a 3-bedroom villa will not have that plot size.
Of course.
Okay, because with time the prices have gone up, so the plots are shrinking, the size are shrinking. So if someone wants a good plot size, can go to the Meadows, buy an old house, renovate it. He's in a super prime location, way better than any other place. Okay, yes, the house is old and he had to take the pain of redoing it, which takes probably 2 or 3 months. But then he's got a brand new house and he can decorate it the way he wants it, and he's in a good location.
To summarize, what I'm hearing is what we know. Everybody that comes has a different goal, has a different mindset. And we have an offering to achieve, whether it's the short-term rental returns with the Airbnbs, a long-term rental return, a long-term, let's say, Maritime City or Ras Al Khaimah, where they have the vision for the future and they're okay waiting a few years. And like you said, the cash, it's that payment plan, or you have the people that want certain areas. So, and that's why you have kind of a 50-50 almost split between the resale and the off plan. And there are pros and cons for each. Now walk us through. I'm an American investor. I'm in America and I want a resale property. What's the process? A to Z.
Okay, so look, anybody anywhere in the world, first of all, can buy a property in Dubai. Okay, whether they're in America, Canada, no matter where, doesn't matter. The process remains the same. Now, I'll walk through a simple process, which is, say, without a mortgage, okay? Or I'll go through both. So if you're buying a property, the first thing is you identify the property. Obviously, you get in touch with your agent, see the properties, finalize. That process remains the same, whether you're buying an off-plan or a ready property, is to identify the property. Once you've identified the property, you place an offer, say if the offer gets accepted and you come to a understanding that, okay, we are buying this property at this price, it's negotiated and you're going ahead. First step is you sign an MOU. Now, when I say sign an MOU, it all happens digitally. You don't sign physically.
So they don't have to be here.
They don't have to be here. It is done over the phone. The Dubai Land Department processes and the contracts are again standard. Means it's a standardized contract for everyone. What changes is the apartment number, obviously the buyer's details, seller's details, the property details.
So it's a standard format, you're saying.
It's a standard format.
Got it.
Okay. And in terms of terms and conditions, the timeline is specified. Okay. All the details of, what you've agreed between. And if there are any special terms, conditions that, okay, the property will be sold furnished, unfurnished, whatever, based on the property, you just mention those. So you don't need a lawyer to go through the contracts and stuff like that.
That is significant what you're saying right now.
And I'll tell you one more thing. Even though you're in America or Canada or wherever you are, when you get the document, which is the title deed of the property you're buying, you can take your smartphone through the Dubai REST app, scan the QR code, and validate whether that property is genuine or no. If it's invalid, then you need to, go back to the guy and take a justification on why it's invalid and make sure that there's a valid title deed. If it's valid, that means the property is genuine.
That's incredible. So the REST app is actually a new offering.
Yes.
And this goes back to the whole point of Dubai continues to innovate and make it simpler, easier, safer for foreigners to invest.
Yes.
So you don't have to be from the Middle East. In fact, you have
you
most
don't need
of your buyers.
any of these things, right? Then what you do is once you sign an MOU, you put in a timeline. Now, then how you want to transact in terms of the funds is up to you. Now, say if you're living in the US, you have some, say, cousin, relative who can transact on your behalf, then you can obviously, give them a power of attorney. This power of attorney also can be done online, okay? And you can remit the funds into their account and they can make a payment. Or if you do not know anybody in Dubai.
Okay. Let's assume they don't.
Okay, you don't know anyone.
Okay.
There's a proper conveyancing firm which will take a small fee. You show them, you tell them this is the property I'm buying. They go through the documents. You transfer the money into their account. They prepare a manager's check, which is like a banker's check, which is given to the seller on the day of transfer. Okay. And you can also give them the power of attorney online, where they will act as your attorney on behalf of you at the trustee office. There's only one small process, which is taking the NOC, no objection certificate, from the master developer. This is to ensure that the person who's selling the apartment to you does not have any dues pending towards the apartment in terms of service charges or any payment penalties. So that means if the developer's given NOC, means it's all clear.
Clean. Yep.
Go ahead, transfer the property. It's a matter of 1 or 2 hours. On the day of the transfer, you get a new title deed in your name, sitting in US. The SMS and the email comes to you directly. Congratulations, this is your property transferred. Click on the link, download your certificate. You're the new owner. Easy.
And then now, second scenario, they want to mortgage it.
Okay. Now, if they want to mortgage it, before they finalize the property, they can speak to a mortgage advisor, get a pre-approval. Now, there's only one thing, that if they're taking a mortgage, because it's a bank which is lending them money, they will have to come into the country once, even if it is for 1 day, to sign the mortgage documents personally in front of the bank.
So you can't do POA
no,
for
because
that.
for a bank, it's creating a liability.
Yes.
And the bank needs to verify that's you only who's taking the mortgage. Right? Because otherwise, probably tomorrow someone can do a fraud or something.
Sure.
So that's just to eliminate that.
Okay.
So for that purpose, you need to come here. It's only for signing the mortgage documents. Otherwise, no.
And as we discussed, it's up to 60% that they can finance. And the interest rates
Even
here,
the mortgage process, everything will happen remotely.
Yeah.
It's only that before the disbursement
verify.
of the mortgage, they need to come here, show their passport, sign in front of the bank.
Understood. And we talked about, so 60%, the interest rates, we won't quote those because obviously those change all the time, but they're still significantly less than the US and Canada. And we have very well-known banks. So, and the process, we actually have a couple interviews we've done with mortgage lenders go through that. So thank you for sharing that. In one scenario, you don't have to come. Second scenario, you come once just to verify. Now, walk us through this scenario. Okay, now I have my property. I want to rent it out. I'm in America or I'm in Canada. How does that work?
Look, it's very simple. First thing which I tell anybody, that whichever agent you're dealing with, right, you need to build a relationship with your agent, because your agent is your representative over here.
Yes.
When it comes to renting the property or taking care of anything, buying, selling, whatever. And that's where also one more thing which is very important, which I see that a lot of people, even if they're buying off plan, they think that, listen, if I just go directly to the developer, it'll be better. I'll get a better deal or a better unit, which is not true. For a simple reason, because look, a developer is not a person, right? It's a big entity. And for the developer, you're just one client buying a unit. The developer's making thousands of units. Okay, you're just buying one of them. It doesn't make any difference to the developer. Developer salespeople, they keep changing. The sales team can change.
Huge turnover.
Right? Huge turnover. People with experience today, they're in the market. For example, Ahmed's been in the market for so long. I've been in the market. If we've sold a property to a client, we make sure we take regular progress. Even if the developer person changes, we can still service them because we know who's the new guy,
Exactly.
right? Who to talk to if there's an issue, if there's some delay on the payment, blah, 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 right? So your agent can manage your property. They can rent it out for you, collect the rent on your behalf. When I say collect the rent, means not take the money in their account, but they can deposit it in your account, make sure the money reaches you on time, and take care of your property as well. Right? So there are so many people. In fact, you'll be surprised, Gigi, that most of the investors
Okay.
who own apartments in Dubai
Okay.
do not live in Dubai.
There
are people,
key.
I've had clients
Okay.
for whom we bought a property, they bought it, building is ready, I've taken handover, rented it out. They've seen after a year of the property being built. Just day before yesterday, I had a client who purchased a villa 2 years back. It was continuously tenanted. The family had not seen the house. Day before yesterday, after 2 years, they came and they actually went inside the house and saw the house, right? And they were really happy.
But they've been collecting.
Fine. Yeah, but they're getting their money.
getting
Everything
money.
is fine.
Yes.
You know, there are processes and there are ways to verify, but you need to know. Just don't believe anybody. Look, I tell everybody, look, in Dubai, the market is so transparent. Do not believe me. Okay?
Look it up.
Look it up.
Easy.
And if you want, if the person you're talking to is not willing to give you access to that, that means he's trying to hide something.
Yes.
But look it up. Do your research. It's
Yes.
simple, right? And if you feel that, discuss with your broker. Listen, why is this like this like that? And so if you build a relationship, your real estate agent's going to take care of it.
And of course, there are property managers here.
Yeah, exactly. Because see, people who've been in this market for a long time, they are used to dealing with clients who are overseas. Okay, because
That's their main thing.
Right?
Yes.
For me, most of my clients are overseas.
Yes.
They don't live over here because that's how this market is.
So it's almost like a concierge service. It's not.
Exactly.
This is, by the way, this is very different from real estate agents in the United States. Okay.
Yes.
Once we sell you the property, of course we want you to be happy. We want your referral. We want your next business. But our position in that transaction, we're out. Okay.
No.
Here, that's not. It's a
not the case.
concierge. We're introducing
It's a
them.
long-term relationship.
It is.
for
It's a
us
long-term
here in
relationship.
Dubai.
With the property management, with the tax accountants, and for us, international tax attorneys, international accountants, and the more international mortgage lenders, and it is that concierge type of service of taking care of them. And I love what you're saying. The majority of them don't even live here. So although this may be new to Americans, this is not new to foreign investors.
I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of people, especially when they're from Canada and the US, they come to me, reach out, oh, Tahir, I bought this. I said, okay, fine. So why is your agent not taking care of this? No, I didn't have an agent. I went to the developer directly. Look, the developer is only bothered about selling the stock. The developer is not going to manage your property.
And they're not going to tell you when to resell it. They're not going to tell you it's
they're not going to even help you
strategic.
resell it. They don't care
Exactly.
about it.
No.
Whether you want to resell it or whatever, they're
Yes.
not going to do that. You will need an agent to do that.
Yes.
You will need an agent to rent your property.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to do that on your own. So always make sure you have someone who's taking care of it. No matter who it is, you be careful. I mean, if you're happy with that person,
Yeah,
you
great.
are, good.
Yeah.
But you need to have someone, because if you need anything, while selling, they might commit the world to you. But their interest ends the moment you paid the deposit and signed.
We had, from Ellington, we did an entire podcast interview with one of our favorite sales directors there, Abdul Latif, and he was saying the same thing. He said, I always tell people, you want to work with an agent, because once we sell you the
one more
property.
thing, I'll tell you what, it's a myth that the developer will discount the property if you go directly.
And what Americans also don't know, Tahir, that they're not paying
The broker's
the broker's commission.
Exactly.
It comes from the developer.
Exactly.
It's a free service that you're saying
Exactly.
no to. Why would you say
Exactly.
no to a
That's the
free
thing.
service?
So money-wise, you're not saving, but what we're talking about today is that service after purchase service, concierge-style service, strategizing when to sell it, property management, all that.
Look,
is
having
through
an
your-
agent in
Yes.
the deal is like having a relationship manager in your bank where you need
Yes,
anything.
that's a
you
great
just call the relationship
comparison.
manager. Otherwise, you have to call the helpline.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome to this. Press 1 for this. Press 2 for that. And you have to keep going on and on with that automated system.
Yes.
Tahir,
It's
it
exactly
all
the
comes
same.
back to after-sale service.
Yes.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
is it's a major point that's missing over here. I'm not going to say all the brokers are out there like like that in the market, but yes, a majority are. They're just looking for that one quick sale,
Because also,
and that's it.
also, you know what people don't realize that because see the markets here and the markets probably in the US and Canada are totally different. As an agent, if I rent a property, I take the commission from the tenant.
From the tenant.
Right?
Correct.
So my interest is that if I've sold a property to someone, if I get that property rent, I can make some money on it. Okay? So people don't realize this, that because someone's interest is there in my property, he will work for it. Okay? And that's where I see, because, you know, and then what happens, people also, okay, if you want to resell the property, what are you going to do? If you tell the developer's not interested in reselling
They're not
your
even going to answer
property.
you back.
You will need an
Yes.
agent. Now, so many times I get people coming to me, listen, can you resell it to me? I said, yes. And, you know, I'm like, okay. And I know that these people contacted me before, but they went directly to the developer. I said, please give me a reason that why should I help you now? When you were making a purchase, you didn't really think of, you know, taking my services. So, you know, until unless I'm getting something out of it, why should I be, you know, doing this, right, as a service? So this is where people don't realize that,
It's that relationship
you know,
building.
It's relationship building.
Relationship building.
Especially when you're buying overseas. Look, if you're buying in your own neighborhood, you know everything, that's a different thing.
Yes.
Okay, but when it's someone, you know, buying, you're making an investment in a different country, it's always
And thank you
advisable
for
to
making
have.
that point also about the rental, that we are able to collect from the tenant
Yes.
that percentage. So it's a business model.
It's a business model. I mean, today, if I have an inventory of, you know, over 100 apartments which are being rented and managed by my company, I'm
That's
happy
a whole
because
separate income
it's
flow
an
for
income
your
and
brokerage.
It's for us a portfolio, right? Because from
Exactly.
that, okay, a client comes and says, listen, Tahir, let's sell this property. Okay, we'll sell this, buy something new. They want to upgrade, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
This is very important, very, very important, because this is not the typical business model.
Exactly.
That's a whole separate entity and a whole separate offering in the United States, whereas this is part of that relationship building here. So now let's take it another step further into the situation. You walked us through the differences between the off-plan and resale ready-made. You walked us through how. You walked us through after sale service. So we talked about that and renting it out. Now, one of the concerns that foreigners may have from America and Canada is something goes wrong. There's a minor leak. There's a minor situation. And am I going to get on an airplane 16 hours?
Look,
or am I going to be taken advantage by someone local saying it's cost
I'll tell you what,
$5,000?
when you rent a property to a tenant on a long-term basis, so there are two things, right? You either rent it on a long-term basis or you
Short-term
put it on a
rentals.
short-term rental. If you put it on short-term rental, the company managing the apartment will take care of this.
Okay.
It will be billed to you if it's a major damage, okay? But they will take care of the hassle.
Okay.
If it's a long-term tenant, small issues, okay? Usually, typically in an apartment, anything which is less than 500 dirhams,
Okay.
costing less than 500 dirhams, the tenant has to do it.
That's
the landlord
law.
doesn't do.
That's the way
Which
it
is
is.
mentioned
Yes,
on
which is
the,
In the
mentioned on the
contract.
rental
contract.
contract.
Okay.
Yes.
If there's a major thing, say for example, there's some issue with the air conditioning.
Okay.
Okay. Look, if you have an agent who's managing the property, what he will do is he'll send a maintenance team, tell you, look, Mr. XYZ, this is the cost. I'm getting it fixed. You can transfer the money directly to the service
This is
company.
coming back to why you should have a relationship
Exactly.
with your broker.
And
Because
usually,
they will look out for these
you
things
know,
for
these
you.
things are done, and it's very simple. You don't really need to come here because look, you're not going to come and fix that, right? You need an agency who will do it for you. So it's a very simple thing, and whether leakage happens or this, it's not a big hassle, and usually these issues don't come when the building is brand new, when you've taken handover, okay, there have to be checked and stuff like that. But usually we don't really face any major issues. It's once in a while if something goes wrong or something.
It's not a commonality.
It's
And this
not
is
a
not
very-
a sue happy. Also, this is another thing.
No.
This is not a sue happy city.
No.
Tahir, since Gigi has brought this question, previously
Yeah.
before, I was actually managing a facility management company, okay? One of the biggest flaws that I noticed with the secondary market here in Dubai is, unlike in America, in Dubai, I noticed majority of the people, and I'm saying majority by almost 90% people who come and buy a property in a recent market don't bother to go through a major snag in order to buy a resale. They refuse to pay that little extra money to get the entire property checked through a proper maintenance company in order to do that. Now, my problem always with that has been, if you're willing to come and spend a couple of million dirham to buy a villa, for example, what is the harm in paying $1,000 to make sure you're getting a safe deal?
True.
Do you find that an issue?
And by the way, before, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, just to explain to our viewers and listeners, snag is not a word we use in America. It's inspection. So that's the
Right.
same thing you're referring
Yes.
to.
Yes.
So snagging is inspection.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's always advisable to do an inspection and check everything is in order, because when you're buying something, then you can tell the seller that, look, this is not proper in the apartment. Either you fix it or give me some
accept.
discount because
Yeah,
I'm going to fix it.
exactly.
Right? So that's always advisable to check and see. And make sure you're buying something which is in correct order. Usually, we don't really find some major issues. Okay, it's a very rare scenario. I mean, I still haven't come across where some major issues there and it's, been, troublesome. But it's always good to be safe.
Okay.
Good to know that.
What other questions do you find, because you have US and Canadian investors and we do as well, what are some of the, let's say, the top 3 to 5 concerns you've heard repeatedly from the US
One
and
is, how
Canadians?
safe is my investment? Is it freehold? Can I buy if I'm a Canadian or an American? You can buy no matter who you are. As long as you have a passport, you can buy and money.
But not everywhere in Dubai is a freehold, which they are not aware of, by the way. Most Americans,
Look, now 90% of the properties which are on the market, or maybe 95%, are all freehold. All the new developments,
And obviously you and I are
everything is
not
freehold.
promoting anything that's not
Yeah,
freehold.
no, but you will
Exactly.
not find anybody
Yeah,
selling
selling
anything
anything
which
that's
is
not
not freehold.
freehold.
yes.
So majority everything is freehold. So it's a very it's not leasehold, so it's not for 99 years.
And
So
you don't have
it's-
to have a sponsor. That was a misconception that I found as well. Well, don't we have
As
to have a
I
sponsor?
always, people tell me, what do I need to have if I want to buy a property in Dubai? The answer is very simple: a passport and money. That's it. If you have these 2 things, you can buy
You're
a
gonna
property
make
in
more
Dubai.
money.
Exactly.
You're gonna make more money.
You don't need anything special to buy a property, and the will to buy. So if you have that, you're good to go.
So, Tahir, thank you.
Most
I
welcome.
am going back to the US with a plethora of information that is going to answer the questions that are most commonly asked. And I have the best associates here in Dubai to work with
Pleasure's
the
always ours.
significant
It's our pleasure.
experience, and even more important than the experience, the reputation of ethics and morals and great personalities to work with too. So I've enjoyed getting to know both of you and the processes, and I thank you for your expertise and time.
Most welcome.
And I look forward to bringing more Americans, Canadians to
Sure.
Dubai. Habibi.
Look forward to more business with
looking
you.
forward to that always.
Yes. Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you for
Perfect.
being here, Tahir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks.
So with that, we'll just say, please make sure that you are following, subscribe on YouTube, and share. Thank you.